Hello everybody, welcome back to Talk of the Town podcast. Obviously we took a bit of a break, but we are back. We are talking relevant issues and we have a fabulous guest today, Ciarán Moran, who's going to be talking about his music.
Yeah.
We put up some question boxes on our Instagram pages. I'm here with Laura, this mammy, myself, Tracy, Diary of a Single Mammy, and Ciara Dignam. So Laura, do you want to kick off with some questions?
Yeah, well, I have two questions actually that came in via last night on the question box. This is a weird one. If you had to listen to the same song for the rest of your life, just one song, what would it be? If it was the only one you could listen to for the rest of your life?
I don't know that.
Isn't that a horrible one?
Yeah. It'd be probably Van Morrison, Ancient Highway. And it's about 9 minutes long, this song, so
Really?
I do it to break up the time, you know. It's a brilliant song. See, I don't know, maybe something like that, yeah. It's just something that is easy listening to, you know. It wouldn't be some pop song off the radio anyway, you know.
Yeah, definitely.
I'm actually surprised that now after listening to the music. Now I will say, for the purpose of the podcast, I intentionally didn't research Ciarán.
Yeah.
I listened to you on Spotify when we decided you were coming on. Love your music, I love the message of your music, but I don't know a lot about you. So, but listening to the Spotify, I'm surprised at that song choice. But do you want to tell us a bit about yourself, where you grew up, where you came from?
Yeah, so I grew up in the north inner city, just near Smithfield there in town, and I was always all my family are into music and that, you know, and I would have started off playing guitar with my uncle. My brother Keith played music years ago, and he would have obviously seen, like if he was gigging or something like that, you know, you'd see that he was playing around and it was something that you kind of look up to, so to speak. And I had an uncle Tomo that taught me the guitar, when I was about 9, I think I would have been 9, and he kind of just started off doing a few chords and things like that, you know. And then there was a youth club that I got into with music, and they done songwriting. And when I done the youth course, the youth club course, I never really knew anything about songwriting at the time, you know. It was something that I wasn't familiar with, but I started doing the course and I was writing songs at the time about, like I had a neighbour who lived 2 doors down and he was a drug addict, you know, and I would have been 14 at the time. I wrote a song about that called Back Where I Began, and everyone else that was in the course were kind of writing songs about like flowers and fucking day, you know. And
you were writing about real issues.
Yeah, but I wasn't doing it intentionally, if that makes sense. It was just something that I was familiar with, if that made sense, because of
what's going on.
Not really necessarily. Yeah, just things you see, you know. And it was from then on, like I always found it a lot harder to write songs about things that I'm not familiar with, or that I wouldn't know about, or I wouldn't have seen, if that makes sense. Or growing up seeing with, whether it was my neighbours or in the flats or in town or something like that. So yeah, I just have an interest in that kind of thing. I like writing about things that other people won't write about as well, if that makes sense, you know. And just not being afraid, not making kind of not glorifying things or
not hiding away from
just not.
It is what it is.
Like just writing it, you know, and kind of making, when people hear the songs or listen to the songs, you can say you didn't hold back there or something like that, you know. And that's what I tried to do with them. But yeah, I would have grown up in town, and then obviously after a few years I started playing music myself, and I was never really, I wouldn't have been strong enough to do it. Like I never had the confidence to do it myself and push it, because back then you kind of had, like when I was 14, Justin Bieber was out, like a good looking fucker from America that unbelievable. And I know it's so far away, like, but when you see things like that when you're a kid,
you compare yourself.
You think to yourself, like, there's no hope whatsoever, you know. So I started getting into bands then and playing in bands, and that was kind of like right, I don't have to sing because I can't sing, so I'll do backing vocals here, or I could do harmonies or something like that, you know. And yeah, after that, I just, when I was about 17, 18, I started finding my voice a little bit, and I'm still trying to find my voice, so to speak, but I got the confidence back to be able to do it myself. And I thought to myself, I don't think you know this girl from sometimes, like if there's family occasions or something like that on, I don't really sing many covers or anything like that. And I always had this thing that if I write my own songs, no one can tell me they sound shit, or no one can tell me they sound wrong, because I wrote them. So they're mine. So that was kind of the thing of where I got me confidence, because I thought to me, if I was able to sing, let's say Bob Marley songs or Damien Rice or whoever it was, like people could say to me, Jez, you didn't sing that right, or it doesn't sound like the original.
You don't want to sound like the person.
Yeah, you
like,
no,
I
you don't.
listened to Kira singing Purple Rain, right?
Yeah.
And I had never heard Prince singing it. I actually messaged her last week and I was like, I'm after hearing Prince ruin your song. He fucking ruined it.
Yeah.
Destroyed it, like.
Yeah.
But, like
that's the other reason I don't grew up and sing at a family occasion or something like that, and I said, fuck, I'll give her a miss till
Now,
another.
I will say, when I was listening to you on Spotify, I did get a Christy Dignam vibe off you. I was saying it to Kieran.
Yeah.
I'm assuming it was some
The Wish
influence.
version.
no, I'm assuming it was some influence, because
Yeah.
listening to you reminded of me going to Christy Dignam when he was a lot younger and I was a lot younger. It's that vibe as well.
Yeah, I think, and I'm not, I'm glad I spoke about this before on other podcasts, not obviously just because they were here, but when I was a kid, like I still am to this day, like, but fascinated with watching Christy perform, and I used to always there was something about the time when I was seeing the Made in Dublin video, and I loved the idea of the way he came out in a Celtic jacket and just didn't give a bollocks, like, and just banged out songs, and there was so much to it but so little to it at the same time. And I think when I was doing I've done a lot of support in 2020, I think, well, just before COVID and then just after COVID I've done a couple, and I used to always find it weird that, you know, when you see the same bands all the time, or you see the same singer all the time, you kind of get used to it.
It's repetitive.
And I never got that with Aslan, which was weird, like, and a couple of artists I've had it with, but I used to find when I watched it, like, I just it was like you'd soak it in. You wouldn't even be listening to some of the songs, you'd just be like, fucking hell, like, crazy. Like,
again, I think, like, the similarity between you and Christy say would be, like you said, you'll write and sing about things that other people are afraid to. And, like, I think Christy would be the same it's kind of what's relevant, what's going on in your life at the time, and the way he sings, that he feels the music, and you can hear it in you as well. Like, you're passionate about what you're talking about, because I'm sure you got, like, did you ever have, like, shit, you know, getting into the music? Did you have shit because you were from inner city? Because I saw in one of your posts had somebody saying to you, you know, you shouldn't be coming out on stage in tracksuits.
Yeah, you always
that's
get it,
you.
Yeah, you get people, like, you get people that say, when you're talking or introducing songs, don't chorus, or, when I say chorus, I don't mean like you wouldn't be saying chorus in every second, but you just in your vocabulary or the way you speak,
exactly.
you know.
Well, you're being authentic, you're being you.
So many people would say, like, if you go out in a tracksuit, like, someone would say, don't do a gig in a tracksuit, like, just throw on a pair of jeans or something. I'd be saying, well, if I'm in the shop 20 minutes before and I'm in a tracksuit, that's the way I'm going to go into the gig, you know, because I wouldn't, to be fair, I wouldn't really do many gigs in tracksuits anyway, but I just mean, like, so there's a lot of people, like, people are very quick to kind of tell you what you can do wrong, you know, and it takes them so long to tell you what you do right.
Exactly.
But yeah, I think with gigs and things, I just, again, when you look at the likings of Christy when he's on the Late Late Show or wherever it is, sometimes you have to kind of, you'll notice the way different artists or different actors and things like that, like, you'll meet them on their own, and then you'll see them on that, and they're kind of like prim and proper, and they're ready for the interview. And like, when you watch the likes of Christy or whoever it might be, someone that's just ordinary, that doesn't care about that kind of stuff, and not selling themselves, so to speak. When you think they can do it and they're doing all right, doing it, why can't you? You know, so you're allowed to be yourself. You know.
I think that's the good thing about Dublin. Like, a lot of Dublin, especially kind of areas like this, like the inner city, Ballymun, Finglas, all of that. Like, people are absolutely genuine. Like, and you say as well about being in inner city. Like, it's hard to grow up in these areas. But I think the people, you end up being more street smart. Like, anybody can you can go to college for as many years as you want, but if you're not street smart, your life is going to kick the shit out of you, no matter what.
The other side of it is, if you're doing the opposite, if you're kind of not speaking about the things and things like that, people from these areas will call you out on it as well, you know, or they're going on to a thing, like, I'm doing an interview and you're saying, like, like, if you were lying about it or something like that, you would get called out, and people get enjoyment out of calling you out for lying or being, like, trying to be a prick or something like that.
You walked in here in an army suit today.
You wouldn't get me in an army. You wouldn't get me on my own wedding.
No, but it's not as much as there's lots of negatives, obviously, to all these areas. We've all grown up in them, we know the negative, like, call them out. they are they're affecting everyday people every day, and a lot of these issues are being ignored by higher powers. But there's lots of good in these areas. Like I've spoke about before, where I live is a lot better than Darndale, but the community is not the same. Like my mum and dad have the best neighbours still in the middle of Darndale. Do you know, and I don't think I'll ever get that where I am now. So there, as much as there's lots of negatives, lots of positives, but I think fair play to you. And that whole thing with course and all, I hate when people like Aaliyah be like, man, it's a course. That is part of our vocabulary. It is how we grew up. That is how we speak. It's how we express ourselves. It's not always bad. Do you know? So, but I think you're right. That's why we call this Talking to Town podcast. People always have something to say.
No matter what you do.
And probably especially when you're doing well.
Mainly when you're doing well. But I think as well it's important to, like, I think from when we were growing up anyway, but he was obviously grew up before me.
We're 100 years older than you.
I think she mentions this in every podcast.
I just think it's important for people to know that they're significantly younger. But no, I think it's important because when we were growing up, it was always kind of like actors or singers were like nearly kind of, not to disrespect Billy Barry kids, but that, like there was kids who came from money, and those are the kids. Like say for example, I'm just being Irish. Say talking about like years when we were kids years ago. The likes of the Late Late Toy Show was always the kind of well-to-do families that could afford to get their kids into Billy Barry type of things, and they were the kids that got on the show. And kids like from areas like this, so like what you're talking about, didn't have a voice. No one was representing them. So I think it's important now for, do you know, like that my dad coming from Finglas, you know you coming from the inner city, that you can kind of like you were saying, looking at my dad saying, Jesus, I actually could. And my dad actually spoke about that years ago, where he loved certain bands, and I think it was Slade or something like that. I'd have to check it. But he was like, he seen this big huge band and thought fucking hell. And then realised that they came from a council estate, and then that's when he was like, Jesus Christ, I actually could do this. And like you were saying, the same thing. You got that same message, and someone will get that message from you, and somebody might get that message from me. That, you know what I mean? I lived in Finglas. I live in Finglas now, and it kind of, you don't have to be from, you know, a well-to-do area or whatever. You can still make it. It doesn't matter where you're from. It doesn't matter who you are. It doesn't matter how much money's in your bank. And I think that's very important.
I think
where we've all grown up, and here we are doing a podcast. Who would have put the four of us in the areas we've come from and the lives that we've had into this room today doing a podcast?
I think the thing about with the way you kind of will say the word conduct yourself or things is, it depends what you want out of it as well. And I think if you want to be, like, I know some bands, like a band that I've worked with in the past, like, and you can tell, like, and they're great at what they do, like, and I don't see anything wrong with what they're doing, but you can tell, like, once there's a trend, they'll jump on it. Once there's if you want that kind of to try and get fame, so to speak, or that kind of thing, when you're doing interviews and things like that, you'll do things to just sell yourself and kind of put yourself as a product sooner than actually being yourself.
Then you're going to spend years not being yourself.
Well, that's I always say the thing about, like, if you are doing that kind of thing, like, there has to be, like, I know there's a great artist that I follow, like, and I love his music, you know, and I seen him a couple of years ago. I won't say his name, but I seen him a couple of years ago at Electric Picnic, and he was like just ordinary himself, like, and about 2 or 3 years later, like, he dresses like fucking Vincent van Gogh, you know what I mean, walking around. And there's nothing wrong with that. If that's what you like to do, I think it's great, and if you're able to do it and you have the confidence to go out and do that, well and good. But, like, it's just, I do think to myself, like, it's not when someone says it to you, even it's when you go to bed at night and you lie down, you have to think to yourself, Jesus, I'm different, I'm not myself anymore, you know, like, and that's where I think that's where it haunts me. Like, I'd be lying in bed at about 2 in the morning, bleeding dog barking or something like that, and I'd be saying, Jesus, I just go things that go through my head when I'm lying in bed, thinking I sold myself, or I done something wrong, or like with interviewers or that, like, if I prepared myself and I said something, like that lie with me, you know what I mean, after, because you're not yourself, you know.
Like, if you're successful in something that is bullshit, essentially, then how you
you're not successful.
Like, you could say, well, I'm number 1 on iTunes for a month, but I would like that, I wore kind of things that I should, like, that isn't me, or in an interview I was talking absolute bullshit. So is that success? I'd rather not get into it. I'd rather not rate in the charts and have 20 people say, I'll come and see you because I really love your voice and I love the message you're putting across, then sell out the Tree Arena to people who have no fucking idea who you are.
And really. It's a hype job or something.
Exactly. So it's not like, it's like that, it's how you kind of measure your success.
Yeah.
I think so.
Yeah, absolutely.
Success can be selling 20 tickets.
Yeah. And you're flying because you've almost sold out Whelan's.
Yeah, it's
You
gone
sold
really well.
out, was it Cobblestone Smithfield in
Yeah.
20 minutes?
So that was what we done was the Whelan's gig we announced because we done the academy back in November,
Yeah.
and Whelan's was a bit of a jump. Usually you'd go into the Grand Social, which would be about 350 capacity after the academy, and then you'd probably go to the Workman's Club, and then bump up to Whelan's or maybe the Button Factory or something like that.
Yeah.
But we said, fuck it, just we'll chance it,
Yeah.
and do it. And it was kind of like when I first started songwriting, I was telling you when I was 14 in the youth clubs, I got the opportunity to open for Damien Dempsey back then.
Yes.
And he brought me to two places, the Access Centre and Whelan's, and I done the support there. And I've always kind of said I'd love to go back and do that kind of thing. I done Whelan's upstairs last April, and it was only holds 120 or 140 or something like that. But we sold it out, which was great. It was my first proper kind of little headline show, so to speak.
Yeah.
And I always said I'd like to go back and do the main stage just because of that kind of thing, and I wanted to kind of replicate what happened then. So I have a young lad that's going to come out and do the support for us on the night.
Brilliant.
He's writing his own songs and that as well. So yeah, it's good. And then the Cobblestone thing was, so after the last gig, like I do after a show, I love saying, like, kind of going to people and saying thanks for coming, you know. So I kind of go out to after the gig, I'd kind of just stand around and kind of say hello to them. Yeah, I just what I'm doing is, and not to sound like a politician or a councillor or anything like that, but I wouldn't be doing anything like this only for the people that's coming. Like, so the shows that's happening is not down to I am working hard, but it's not down to me saying, oh, I'm a hard worker, or I do this or do that. It's down to people. And
well, you write your own music, don't you?
Yeah, well, I write all my own songs, and like everything I do is original, so to speak. But the gigs and the kind of anything that I've sold out, or any of that, whatever word you want to use for that, that's people's nights, not down to me working hard, you know. And the good thing is I kind of have people that are like constant kind of going to gigs. So the Whelan's gig, you'll see some familiar faces, and used to be kind of family and things like that. The big thing for me was, like, I always thought you need to get family to go to your shows because they'll fill a corner in the room or something like that. And now it's just people that, like, there's obviously people I would know that know their faces, but it's a lot of people that I've never met in my life, you know. And
that must be cool.
Yeah, it's very cool. It's you know what, I find it a little bit hard to kind of to understand it. I find it a little bit, yeah, kind of, because I'm not used to it, you know what I mean. And like
people actually want to come and pay.
And like even online, like some messages you do get, like, and I do think myself, like, people are opening up to you and they kind of feel like they know you or something like that, you know. And it's all kind of like I'm not saying I'm fucking famous or any of that shit, but I just mean, like, it's all kind of new, getting people that you've never met before. And I went into a gig, Damien Dempsey in the Abbey Theatre a few weeks ago, like, and a fella was downstairs and a fella asked me for will I take a photo, or I'm like, he was talking to me for a minute and said, can I take a photo? And I still kind of find that thing weird, because I go back to my ma's that night and they're just treated like you're just the same person. Like,
I was going to say, it's weird when people
no one kind of
like that.
they don't acknowledge it. Not that I'm delighted the way they would be, but I just mean outside of that kind of thing, no one acknowledges it, so it's a bit hard to balance, you know.
You still feel strange.
And when you're doing, like, I went into the academy last November, and we were like, that was a deadly experience because we sold out, and it was a great night and everything went well. But after, like, there was a lot of people there obviously that I never met before, and they're kind of like asking you questions, and sometimes people assume they know everything about you from social media, you know. And, like, they forget that you're going home that night to eat a bleeding pot noodle, have a muffin back, you know. You're just doing the same thing, you know. But I find I'm still kind of getting used to people kind of even messaging you, or people that you're not familiar with talking to you in a way that they kind of know you, if that makes sense. And trying to understand that kind of thing. But yeah, it's good. I love it. And what I was saying, the reason why I was saying that is the Cobblestone. What I wanted to do was I wanted to go back to where I'm from and do a show. And you know the way, like, Aslan every year is usually 27th December, they'd have a show on Vicar Street, and then Damo was usually a few days before. I always wanted to have something like that. I go back to a really small venue where I'm from every year at the same day, and do a ticket, and kind of like, or a show where tickets are free for people that kind of sports, but it's just first person that gets them, goes. So I done that, and loads of people got them, which was great, and I'm looking forward to it. So that'll be kind of like a laid back vibe before the gig, and be nice to go in and say that's what I'm saying, you can't really say thanks to everyone when you're at the show, because someone will be talking for 15 minutes and someone will be talking for 2. So with this it was kind of like a thing, we'll spend a bit of time and have a
That's
buzz
our
and chat
time.
to each other, and kind of like that.
How old are you now, Karen?
26. Yeah.
You're only baby.
Yeah.
Me and Ciarán are only babies.
Yeah. Yeah, 26. Yeah. I always said if I'm not, if I wasn't doing what I wanted to do before 25, I said I'd call it a day, but COVID happened and I said I'll push it out to 30 now, so.
And I think COVID was probably a good thing for lots of people.
Yeah.
Especially people with like your interest, like
Yeah,
that
I think-
kind of road they wanted to take.
Yeah.
I think COVID was great.
It gives, I
You've
think,
done
yeah.
a little tour, haven't you? You've been like to the UK as
Yeah,
well. Like,
that was actually
we got
the-
our album together, so
Yeah.
COVID helped you as a lot.
Yeah.
Like,
It was, I think it gave you time to find out about yourself, if what you're doing is really what you want to do and all that,
Yeah.
you know, and kind of
Yeah.
had
we
nowhere
all had to
to go.
spend a lot of time with ourselves.
Yeah.
really,
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
and-
Yeah.
It was kind of good though, you missed the no traffic and all that, you know, Dublin airport
No
being
school
empty.
runs.
Yeah,
Yeah, you didn't have to stop and talk to people in the street.
Yeah.
Are you not?
Yeah.
Not safe. Not
Yeah.
safe.
Now you do feel a little bit weird wearing the mask, don't you? If you're,
Oh, I
if you're,
think
yeah,
it
you're
look
not
like
on the
weird.
plane.
Like,
Yeah,
honestly, when I
yeah,
see a random person walk down the road with a mask, I'm like,
yeah,
well,
Yeah.
take that off.
Yeah.
It looks stupid.
Yeah, I literally.
Now
yeah.
each to their own as well. It's just I think it looks weird
Yeah.
when people are around.
Come here, what was it like when you were 13 years old walking out on stage just for Damien Dempsey? It must have been just frightening.
Do you know what? I'd
How did it
never.
happen?
So the youth club I was in, there was a chap from up in ballymun, Sparky. Do you know?
I know Sparky, yeah.
Sparky
he's
was
dead.
great, kind of a great, if you want to use the word mentor or
Yeah.
someone that kind of guided me as a kid. Like he kind of spent a lot of time with me as a kid, you know,
Yeah.
and in a great way. Like he helped me a lot. And he was friends with Damo, and he got me an interview on a community station called Nerd FM.
Yeah.
And I done that, and he said, "I'll get you a sports slot with Damo." And at the time, I never, I didn't really know who Damien Dempsey was at the time. I was only 13, you know, and I was probably still listening to Justin Bieber and all that shit. But I got asked to go out and do the support in the Axes and Whelan's, and I went out, and it was the most terrifying thing I've ever experienced in my life. I went out, and I always talk about this, but I never forget the time I went out onto the stage and I was playing, I think I had 5 songs or something like that, and I went out and I didn't talk. I was so afraid. I was always more afraid of talking than singing, if that makes sense.
I'm
But
exactly the same.
then
It's weird, isn't it?
yeah, it's strange, yeah.
Yeah.
But then the two of them at a point caught me where I couldn't do either of them, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
But that gig, I went out and I played the song. Like I just sat down on a stool, sang my song, and then stopped, let people clap, and then played the next song. I didn't even say thank you. I was that scared, you know.
Yeah.
I was terrified, but I didn't. I could say that I learned loads from it, and it was a great experience. But at the time, I didn't really know what I was learning, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
I didn't know like that. I didn't get to see. Look, this is the way you support, because it wasn't a consistent thing. I wasn't
Yeah.
supporting all the time. I done 2 of them. But it was deadly out of that. I got to do a songwriting course with Christy Moore and Roddy Doyle, and
Great.
No way.
yeah, so I done that. Down in Croke Park there. And I done that, and I still do talk to Christy Moore the odd time, like
No
through
way.
email, yeah, and he just he's actually great for giving you not proper, like someone said to me before, any artist that you message, they're never going to write back and say, music is shite, you'll say well done or whatever,
Yeah.
like artists just don't do it.
Yeah.
But Christy Moore he gave me some great criticism on videos, like he said, your lighting is a little bit dark in this video, you should brighten her up a little bit, because whatever the reasons were, I obviously didn't take it on board.
Quite so
Yeah.
But no, this was a couple of years ago, a song I done called Mother, and he said I would like to see a bit brighter on the performance bit and all, but real honest kind of fella,
So
you know.
constructive criticism. like
Yeah,
you say,
really good. And he's the weird thing was I was playing in bands for a few years, so I didn't keep in touch during them years. But then when I released my 4th song, which would have been Almost Anyone, I got back in touch with him, and then most releases that I'd have, I'd send to him and ask him what does he think about whatever, you know. And he does always get back, to be fair. Like he's a really nice fella, you know. I haven't seen him in years, but I'll hopefully see him down the road. You know, sometimes the show is where different people do be on things like that, you know. But that was through the demo gigs, and then after that I lost my confidence to sing. I was terrified, and then stopped for a few years, about 4 or 5 years maybe, or maybe 6.
God, you came back.
Yeah.
Imagine,
Yeah.
imagine that had a frightened the Jason.
Yeah, it did, you know. I think at the time, and I still am a little bit. I'd be a little bit nervous and things like that now.
Yeah.
But I think if you're confident in something that you're doing, you're not as nervous about it, you know,
Yeah.
because you're kind of used to it. So with my own songs, or rehearse my own songs. Whereas if you said to me, go up and do 2 songs there and songs that you was like I'd be
Yeah.
terrified because I
Yeah.
wouldn't know what way it's going to go and I wouldn't know whether it's going to
Bit of Robbie
sound.
Williams, go on, go for it.
Yeah.
What's mad like Ciarán was saying earlier, just because obviously not everyone's going to know the connection. So Ciarán is Darren's cousin.
Yeah.
So Darren's my wife. So it's mad to think
My
like,
wife.
yeah, they're strange family. But
They're
like,
very close.
I know Ciarán since he was 6.
Yeah.
So it's like, and I don't want to be. It's mad because like when we were away years ago, like we'd go on family holidays, and Ciarán would be there, and he was mad. You were fucking mad.
Yeah.
So it's
I
quite
still am, you just don't see
yeah.
that.
Well, yeah, we're being, but no, like he was you were always real giddy and real friendly kid. Do you know what I mean? So it's like you're saying, where people think they know you online or whatever, where I actually do.
Yeah.
And so I know that side of you. But then to think like that, you're saying to be kind of on stage, to be shitting and be afraid to talk.
Yeah.
But I also totally get it, because I would be the same. Like if I'm with people I'm comfortable with, I'll sit and chat, and I'll be people kind of like that. You'd say, like before this we were talking, you were saying there was things that you were listening back on me and saying I was funny, which I am. But like, if I'm with people I'm not comfortable, I don't know, I'm be very reserved. And on stage, now I kind of switch it on stage, but for the first few songs to talk, I'm like, oh.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Yeah, it is. Like, so, but until you kind of get into the flow of it, but it's mad that you can be a totally different person.
Yeah,
So
because I'd be up all day to anybody. Like,
Yeah.
if the bass guitarist that works for me, I said to them, like the first gig we were doing would have been Wheels upstairs, and I said, I'd be a little bit nervous talking, like, and he says, Jez, you wouldn't think it, you know, you don't shut up like in the rehearsals and that. But it is that thing. But what I done, something that I kind of learned, or done to kind of fix that up a little bit was, I done, when I was doing my first gigs, I was terrified of talking, so I didn't know what to say between songs. So people were saying to me, write down like pinpoints and things like that. And I said, if I write a pinpoint down,
It's not natural.
it's not going to
Because
come out.
I keep going like that.
Yeah, and whatever you're saying, like, it's usually, like, you could skip it, like, it just fucks me, you know.
can't
So
script stuff like that.
Yeah.
what I done was, I went around nearly every open mic in Dublin for about 4 or 5 months, and some of them be like great little spots, some of them be the dingiest place where people are just not listening to you.
Yeah.
And it was one of the best things I ever done for learning how to speak to people, and I used to just go out and be myself and just talk. Like I'd never have anything planned what I'm gonna say and stuff. Like even for like into this, like I'd never prepared anything, or like it's just I don't, not in a bad way about anything, but I don't care. Like if I go out and be
natural and fluid.
I asked you, did you want a list of questions, and you were like, no, I'm
whatever you want.
I have
okay.
a question. What's your man like about it all? Is your man like Ciarán, go up and make your fucking bed? I don't give a shit that you're selling out wheelings.
Yeah, she'd be a bit. They'd be supportive, but they wouldn't. Everyone in their family, like even Darren and that, like we all kind of, a lot of people play music in the family, so you're not recognised as someone that's
kind of like get over yourself.
Yeah, if I went into my man and said I'm doing wheelings, she'd say I was wheelings, you know. She'd be that kind of. But she'd be supportive, like, and they're there for every gig, and.
But that's also good.
And
she'd
always ask me, well, that's the thing. You're kind of, you have people messaging you online, and they're kind of boosting you up, or telling you you're great, or you're doing well, or you're well done, and then when you go home, your man kind of, or your family are just ordinary, but you know, and I think that's the reason why I don't have an interest in that thing, because I prefer that kind of thing, just being able to go home and just not talk about what Matt's been doing all day, or not someone saying, like, because I used to see years ago, do you remember them talent competitions years ago, like, and there'd be a kid there, and I was probably one of them, but I know my man and dad wasn't like this, but there was kids there, like, and they wouldn't be the greatest singers or dancers wherever they're doing, but their man and dad would like
stage moms
would have them like they are amazing, or even in football or something like that. Like the young fella had 2 left feet, like, and the man is like, he's gonna be Ronaldo, and they're pushing and push. But once he gets to a level where he realises that you can't do that, or you're not gonna be fucking Ronaldo or whoever you want to be, then how much of a fall is that to someone that says to you, my man used to say, if I was going to football or I was going to boxing, go on, go out and enjoy it, you know, and there was never a push with music with me, or you're going to be great or anything like that. Maybe, I don't know, maybe with others, with me, I don't think, maybe just saying he's not going to be fucking Justin Bieber or whoever it is, you know, and they're just realistic about it, and I like that, I prefer that, you know, because I did be walking around with a head on me and kind of thinking that I'm better or worse than others, and I don't, I do everything that you do or anyone else does, you know. Just, I always say about music, I think, like, if you could go in and give your plumber a clap, you know, he spent the same amount of time as I have writing songs, maybe. It's just a different kind of, it's a different route that you take, and some people say, it's talent and you have to have this. It's Not really. If you put a bit of effort into it, like anything you want,
Exactly.
you'll do it either way, you know. So
yeah,
it's
exactly.
not down to people say some people are born with it, maybe they are, but I wasn't. I think I just was into it, and it was kind of something that was in our family, and something
You worked
really,
at it, and it's
you know, to do, and it's an enjoyable. Like I get a great buzz. Like if I was having a bad day or anything like that, like it's the weirdest thing, because if someone else said to me, if you pick up a guitar, it'll take your mind into a different place. So it's like, don't be acting nerdy, you know. But it really does. Like if I pick up the guitar, there's nothing that gets into my mind at all.
Would you say you do your best writing when you're in kind of bad form, or you know, just having a day?
No. Some of the songs would probably sell that, if that makes sense, but not really. No, like I could be. Like I wrote a great song there recently. I think it's a great. Well, they say everyone says your last song is your best song, because when you write your last song, you think that it's going to be the best song you have.
And that's where you are at that time.
Yeah. But I wrote a good song recently, and most of the chorus that I had off it was just driving down the M50 and I put it into notes, you know, and just thought like it wouldn't be. Some days it would.
Ciarán, promote it. What's it called?
Well, I haven't got it. I haven't got it out yet at the minute.
Right.
I only recorded it there about 2 weeks ago. But I actually don't know the name, to be honest. I don't think I have a name on it, but
Coming soon, it's coming soon. You don't want to give that away yet.
But yeah, that kind of thing. I don't have to be in a bad mood or anything like that. It could be anywhere. I could come out here, like, and you could say something. I seen something recently. I was at a church recently, you know, stained glass, like at a church, and something came into my head just about like writing something about stained glass, and I just take a note on my phone, like, or if you say something today, I'll think of something, I'll take a note, and then when I am writing a song, I'll think, what did that mean, or what did this mean, and I'll put it in.
Yeah, and it'll be what it meant to you, I suppose, at that specific moment.
It's a nice little kind of reminder of, and you can change so many things with what you're saying, like what words you're saying and all.
Do you have a favourite song of all your writings?
Of mine?
Yeah.
Not really. I'd like, there'd be some that I'd enjoy singing a lot, like I'd enjoy playing them or singing them because I can do certain things with them or mess around with them, but I like the song Mother that I wrote, that would be one that would be kind of close to me, so to speak, in terms of the way when I'm performing I feel it, just like I can kind of belt it out, so to speak. And then Life in a City off the new EP, that's one that's
brilliant.
I felt like,
I liked that.
with that song I felt like I could just open and be myself, and you can hear me accent and that, you can hear that. Like when I was in the studio with Stuart at the time, like I said, like I was saying to him, look, I don't want any auto-tune, I don't want notes. Like there was a note on the spoken word piece, and it's a big kind of high thing where my voice is nearly breaking through it, and we were saying, will we redo it? And I said, I don't want anything perfect, because I just don't want. No, I don't mean perfect, but I don't want that. I want it to be a little bit raw.
You want the gravel if it's
that kind of thing, and where you can hear it kind of like if I'm a tiny little bit off or something like that, like not even off, but if you're a little bit vulnerable again, so to speak, and that's
I get what you're saying about Justin Bieber. Like, but I think as people get older, they appreciate the gravel more.
Yeah, well, I think with that, the reason I like that is because I was able to be myself. I was able to say to a producer, look, the main thing I don't want is perfect. Like trying to make this perfect. It's not perfect. The songs are not perfect. They're just you can see me or feel me, and that's all I want. And raw. I love using the term raw, because if they're raw, they're kind of like, it's nearly like a demo thing, you know, like it before recording. But I think I think Life in a City would be one now that I just feel like I can express myself more and be open, and I felt like it gave me a little kind of a gateway to be able to do it more now, because Mother and Follow Your Soul and all that, although you can hear me accent in certain words, I was still nervous, and they were a few years ago. Now I'm still finding myself, you know, still finding what way I want to do this, or finding what way I want to sing, or notes, the way I want to see notes and that in songs, or my accent and how I pronounce things as well. But Life in a City gave me a little thing that I can do this now, where I can start doing it because people enjoy it, you know.
And kind of represents you.
Yeah.
Well, if you were singing Life in a City with a D4 accent,
it wouldn't make sense.
But that's, and I'd be exactly the same with recording as well. With that kind of like where everything's too polished. Like I can't, if I listen back to myself and everything's kind of like the auto tune and all, like Melodyne, all that, all that, because my thing was always, and from what you were saying, it sounds like the exact same thing. If I can't sing it live and sound the same, I don't want that on the album.
Exactly.
Do you know what I mean? Like, even with my album tracks that I've listened back to now, we were only talking about it a couple of weeks ago. Like, when I listen back now, I'm like, that sounds like me. I don't want to listen and it sounds like a robot, because I'm like, that's not going on the album, because if I, like we were only talking beforehand about filters and Instagram and stuff, where you use a filter and people see it in real life and they're like,
what the fuck?
Who the
yeah,
fuck is that?
Yeah.
That's not your face.
Yeah.
So I don't want people to listen to my album and then show up at my gig and then be like, whoa,
yeah,
what?
this is a different
Yeah,
thing.
that's a
And
different
I
thing.
actually, I think, and probably the same with yourself with record. So when you're recording, I'm not sure whether you're familiar with like a recording process, but you usually record things like guitar, you record the guitar first.
Yeah, I didn't know.
Then you record your drum first.
And
And the thing with like that's amazing because with that song, like the producer can send it to a drummer in Canada if he wants, and the drummer can play on time.
But
when
is
you're-
it not hard for you to do the song, not having the drummer there?
No,
You'd have a
you'd
basic.
have a guide
yes.
vocal, so
Oh,
you
right.
record it first and then you'd have a guide thing.
Okay.
But the thing about that is that when you record that, like I play the guitar, like I'd be very loose on the guitar, so I'd play a norm, like the way anyone can play a guitar, but then there's things like where I'd pan mute the guitar or pull it back or slow the timing down a tiny bit for certain words that I'm trying to say, because I'm trying to get that particular sentence to into people's heads.
Exactly.
And when you're in the studio, you're always on that time, so you can't really express yourself in that way, if that makes sense, because you're kind of caught to that 1, 2, 3, 4 time, and so
Like a backing track.
yeah. So it's very hard
Yeah.
to kind of it's very hard to be loose with it, if that makes sense. So
Yeah.
I'd believe, or I think that, and I think a lot of people would say that you'd be better live than that.
Yeah.
I think I'd be better. I'm a lot better live than I would be in the studio. In the studio, I find I'm a bit restricted, not because of the studio or anything like that, but because that's the way you record anywhere. Like you record
I
the time.
think the same of most artists. I'd
Yeah.
rather see someone live than
Yeah.
listen to an album.
Damien Dempsey's very like that.
Live
like-
albums aren't always better than the studio recorded album.
yeah, of course, yeah.
I think it depends on the sound. Like Westlife album, grand, but like Damien Dempsey, Dermot Kennedy,
The
raw-
Real
raw-
singers, yeah.
Yeah,
real
I think
singers,
the other thing is
No
when you're in
disrespect to
the
Westlife, I like
No.
Westlife.
when
Yeah,
you're
but
in
they'd be
the,
all
uh,
tuned
yeah.
and
They're not.
polished and
Yeah.
effective.
when you're in a booth though, like a recording booth, and you're getting told to record the same, like if I'm singing a song that's deep and I'm trying to, like if I had the guitar here and I sang a song, you'd see the emotion in it.
Yeah.
Whereas when you're told that line didn't work, we're going to go back and record that line, you can't put the emotion in just in one line.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
it's kind of a little
Yeah.
bit difficult to do it that way. So yeah, I do think the live, and the same with that thing. If I sounded auto-tune, people came in and seen me and were like, what the fuck?
Yeah, it's like
Yeah,
actually
you know.
just flashback there of Straight Outta Compton,
Yeah.
and Easy
Yeah.
is doing cruising down the street in Y64, and but he goes in and he's behind the glass and he's doing it, and your man's like, no, that's shit, it doesn't sound like good, like
Yeah.
feel it, and he does it again, and they're like, yeah, that's
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's I suppose
It's
you
a
have to get in
weird
the zone,
thing.
wouldn't you?
Yeah, you have to be kind of producers nearly open you up a little bit, don't
Yeah.
you, and open your track up. It's like you kind of
Yeah.
take it apart and put it back together, which
Yeah.
is it's good in a way, but it's not what the first time you play that in the studio will be the best. I think it's the best time when you're letting the producer hear it.
When you're doing
Well,
your vibe.
yeah.
Yeah, it'll be better than the
Yeah.
thing, because now it's starting to kind of get a little bit into sections and sound better and stronger. But for him it sound better and stronger. But for me, who would be loose and kind of
Yeah.
not perfect or not even close to perfect, I can't get that, you know.
Who would you love to do a duet with? Or not even a duet, like a gig with? Do you know what I mean?
I don't know. I would have always saying Christy. I would have loved to do a song with. I've just been fascinated by Adele's voice, like. But I think I don't know, to be honest. I don't know. I used to always think years ago I'd like to do like collaborations and things like that.
Yeah.
I'd love to. There's people that I wouldn't mind meeting. Like I'd like to meet Liam Gallagher. He's
Yeah,
off the top of my head,
I know.
you know. I'd love to sit around him, and Roy Keane. I'd love to sit with him and have a drink or something with him, you know. But no, in terms at the minute I don't. There's no one really that I'd say like, Jez, I'd love to sing a song with them at the minute, if that makes sense. I don't know why, but if you asked me years ago, I would have given you 5 people. But just at the minute, I don't think there'd be many.
You're just on a roll doing it.
Yeah, I'm enjoying kind of. I'd love to do something with Christy. I'd love to do Damien Dempsey. I'd love to do Damien Royce is a big one as well.
Yeah.
I like him. I love his voice. Paddy Casey as well. I used to love Paddy
He's
Casey.
really
You know,
lovely, yeah.
he's really good. Like, and
Yeah.
you don't really see much of him anymore. But he was that first album he released was unbelievable. I'd love to when I sit with him and just ask him about it, you know. But I think there'll be a couple of Irish artists, you know, but there wouldn't be anyone.
Liam Gallagher and
But,
this is-
his brother only followed me. Paul, his brother Paul only followed me on Instagram the other day. Yeah.
Alright, that's deadly.
I don't know whether he's saying something on I've done a support for an old keyboard player in Dublin sometime, and they shared his
Very
stuff.
good.
So I didn't message him or anything like that. No, I didn't get in touch, but I'd love to.
Yes,
You can't really message him and say how's your
Yeah,
brother's getting
yeah.
on? Like I don't.
Yeah. Ask our brother to give you
So
a shout.
what does the future hold? What's going on now for the future?
So the show we're having Whelan's in May, and the
12th of May,
show.
isn't it, that one?
Yeah, the 12th of May. I'm doing that, and then I'm over and going off to London on the 30th of June. I'll be over in the Green out in London, so we're going back there for another show. Last year I went to London and we were, now it's only a small venue, 70 or 80 people, but we were only 8 tickets off a sellout, and which was mad. And I knew 6 people that were at the gig, and I didn't know anyone else, and they came from England, which was mental. But we're going back out to London before the summer, and then I'll kind of not take a break, but I'll start writing and recording and things like that, and then in summer, and then I'm going to try to do a small Irish tour in November. And the main goal for me to do is Vicar Street. That's where I want to headline and where I want to. I'm confident it'll happen, but that's the only thing. I've no interest in the rest. If that makes sense. No, because of the bollocks about it now. It'd be just, if I can do Vicar Street, I think it's nearly like a little dream that I had, that I think if I can do that, I can not call it a day, but I know I'm at the hinting now, and
you'd be content with that.
I just think it'd be mad if you had a dream that you're at being able to kind of say.
But I think because that's your dream, it's easier to make it all about you and your music. Like, I think when it's getting to bigger, just part of you has to sell part of your soul kind of thing.
Well, that's a part of it. Like I had 2 meetings recently I had a meeting about a song I have called Too Hard on Myself, and there was a record label. We were talking about doing a distribution deal with them instead of a development deal it was, but they wanted to do this. They wanted to put the name on the bottom of a CD basically, and for one song off the project, and we said no, if it's a development deal we'll do some work with them. But I was saying to my manager Phil, I was saying to him, like, when if I'm talking to a record label or talking to managers or talking to anyone that's involved in the industry, they don't really want to hear what I'll say, because I don't want to do the big things, and I'm not trying to say that and I'll go home and say, if you ask me next Saturday would you like to do it, it'd be deadly to do it as an experience, sport or whatever it is, but it's not something that I'm ever going to chase or put effort into trying to do. I'll do it for Vicar Street, but when I go to or talk to a label and you basically have to sell yourself and you say to them, look, all I want to do is Vicar Street, and I'm not going to change the way I dress, I'm not writing songs that you want me to do.
You don't be
kind of understand.
Well, come here, Liam Gallagher can get up on the stage and
exactly.
Of
course, but I just think like the way labels would want you to be, or what you like to write these kind of songs that the songs that
they do talk about it a lot with regards to like X Factor and American Idol and all this. Like, that would be the negatives of it. These people go on and they are then manufactured into something that sells. Instead of they can't start off being authentic.
When you're doing your first meeting or first chat with, say, a label head or even just a manager or promoter or something like that, and they want you to be saying, look, I'm going to go and do the training.
I have those dreams too.
Whereas when I'm meeting them,
I'm
just saying, look, that's not, like, if I can do Vicar Street, I'll probably bounce after a year and get a job in the deals next door. That's all I want to do.
That's your dream right now.
Maybe if I done that, it'd be probably turn into an annual thing, or if it did, if I could do what. I'm very confident that, like, there was a time years ago where, you know the way people say all this stuff about manifestation and all that kind of stuff. Years ago I used to think I knew that kind of stuff, and I used to think, like, I used to say to people, I'm going to play Vicar Street, and I'd say I can see it, and I could never see it, but I was saying it to make them think that I could see it. But now I can see it, and now I can see it closer, quicker. I think,
and it's happening every week you're at it.
The steps are becoming shorter, if that makes sense. But I think if we sell out Whelan's now, I think the next show we'll do is Vicar Street. I'd be confident of it. I think that's the way it'll work anyway. But if it doesn't happen, I'll do so. I'll take the next one to get to it. You know what I mean? But
that's it. It's
going to say,
isn't it?
It's good. That's. I don't know what it is.
Going for singing in your bedroom.
Well, that's the goal, regardless of what happens.
But it's being realistic and being true to yourself. We were talking about Barry Cowan earlier. Won a BAFTA last week, and like, he was on Love Island as a little kid, or Love Hate as a little kid. But I remember in the media, like, you know, people going, he's a little scroll, like, he was robbing cars, like, he was, like, the negatives. He came from a shit situation, a shit background, shit areas, foster home, and he won a BAFTA last week. He all came from foster home, him and his brother. But he's so young, and there he is starring in movies with Brendan Gleeson and Colin Farrell. He's one.
I see him going over to the FM 104 lads. And he says, I'm doing your
and he's sound, but he, from what I can see and what I get off him, is he's still kept very true to himself, and he's fair play to him representing the country. and we need more of that.
Ignoring all the things things that you'd say or anyone would say he's from this area in the foster home, he has something, like he has it. Like I actually drove through Ballymun the other night, I did, and I'd seen a young fella on a motorbike, and he was
on the back wheel,
and he stood up on the back wheel, and I said to, like, I was saying to myself, like, that's something I could never do. That's I know it's some people say, you should, but that's a talent, like, and sometimes people just have different skills in different areas and things like that, but if you were recognised more, it wouldn't be so put down on, and people wouldn't focus on the where you're from or how you look or what way you speak or what words you say when you're doing things. It'd be more about he's good at this or she's good at this, you know.
And I think it's the way society works. It's easier to put people down in these areas. Like, even I remember your man Rory Stories was on the late a few weeks ago, and even just talking about school and, you know, like kids that wouldn't be doing great. It's easier to say whoever gets an A this week is going to get a special award, but that kid getting the D has probably come in and given everything that they have, you know, to do. But it's easier to just only recognise high achievers, only recognise when you're doing well, when you're coming from somewhere better. And
I seen a thing years ago on, you know the way you do see them quotes on Facebook or Instagram or whatever, and I seen this thing, you've probably seen it, it was like a teacher was writing on a blackboard and she wrote all the sums, so 1 by 7 is 7, 2 by 7 is 14, 3 by 7 is 21, and she went down and she got one wrong in the middle.
Seen it, I did see it, it's very good.
She said she was going through them, and then one kid pointed out the one she got wrong. She says, look, the amount of things I done right, and they only point out the thing I do wrong. You know, the only one.
I think that's a very Irish thing.
It is.
It definitely is. You're recognised for what you don't do, so to speak.
Or for what you did do wrong.
Did do wrong, but that's people, and you kind of I think you have to just kind of be a little bit open to that as well, in terms of, like, know that people can be like that, you know. And the thing is, all you have to know from being singles and Darndale, I think you said, but these kind of areas, you have that, you're kind of solid in terms of, like, nothing gets in, like you could genuinely, someone could put me down and say the worst things you could imagine someone ever saying, and honest to God, I'd never lose a wink of sleep over it. I don't have that kind of thing about me, but I think it's spoken about a lot more now, and people are a little bit more. I think it's kind of like, it's a big topic, isn't it? Like talking about bullying and things like that. It's very important. And
we talked about it. Our podcast last week was on.
That exactly.
But it does. It thickens and hardens again. Like, over the weekend, in a situation at work, I was getting called a gee-bag and a tramp, and I went back. You know, we resolved it and all, but I went back and I went, but you didn't say fat gee-bag and fat tramp. I'm delighted. Delighted to.
Please say something like that.
And I remember years ago going out with a fella, and he was from Skerries, and him coming in Stardale and being shocked, like, the rob cars. He's like out the window going, or Laurie even would be in over now and you stay during the day, and we mad as she was like Halloween day, but what the fuck, like, there's horses outside and all. And I take all that in my stride, as you would, you would, but all those things help you just be realistic as you get older. Like,
to me and Finglas, like, and I'm on the Jamestown Road, like, it's not even a scary part.
What was she
like? Posh part.
Laurie was lying across the back seat with her yoke.
We were in there the other day, and she said to me, it really makes me appreciate where it comes from. And she's like, you know, but you forget that, like to now, like, she still hasn't seen a robbed car, and like, or, you know, people openly dealing, or a drug addict just walking by, on our doorstep.
I'm glad I live.
I'm glad
it helped me develop. I think other kids like that are missing out. Like, she's like, I really appreciate where I'm from. I so appreciate things. You know what I mean? Because there's, like, it's the community spirit. Everybody looks out for each other. Like, I grew up in Swords. I was reared in Swords, and I lived, like, in my adult life, lived out there for 7 years. I couldn't tell you what my neighbours' names are. Do you know what I mean?
Same.
That's what I'm like now.
It's fucking out.
Yeah,
it's incredible now, I have to say, the difference.
I think the whole community, like, when my mum moved out to Santry a couple of years ago, like, and coming from town to Santry, that same thing, just it's a different kind of, like, it's different. I used to come down here because I have cousins down in Ballymun, and I used to come down here to kind of get out there, so to speak, because, like, probably sounds wrong to say, but like in town, like you throw things on the ground, like,
Yeah.
and like in Sanctuary one time I done it and the neighbour knocked in and I was like, what the fuck is this? You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
So yeah, and you don't know anybody and you don't, it's just that.
No, but I'm quite political. Not going to get too into it here on
Yeah.
go off, right? But I'm quite political, and it infuriates me, especially younger people, either voting because they're copying what their parents are doing or just not bothering. And I'm like, you realise you're part of the problem. But like the issues that are going on in these areas are so important to acknowledge and talk about.
Yeah.
Like, you're doing that through your music. It is important because the majority of people, unfortunately, in the Oireachtas aren't from areas like this.
Yeah.
They'll never be in an area like this. They won't even drive through an area like this.
Yeah.
They're not hit with those hard-hitting issues, and as proud as we all are to come from where we've come from, they're issues where people in those areas need more help, they need more resources, they need more education, they need that. And you're doing your bit through your music. I feel like I do my bit through my job. Like, we are doing our bit, but we have to keep speaking about it, we have to keep voicing it. It's not going away.
Well, I've been a barber in Ballymun for 13 years, and I don't think I'd work anywhere else.
Yeah.
Because I just feel, literally feel like I'm from this community.
You
know what I mean? Like, I know a lot of people now, and no matter whether they come in a fucking suit with a briefcase or a tracksuit, like you say, night tracksuit with holes in it. They're getting the same respect, and they give both. Like, I'd nearly get more respect from the Ballymun lads than I would from the man coming in with the suit. Do you know what I mean? Really, literally, like.
It's like taxi drivers taxi drivers would say, I had a few bogeys in the car earlier, but says, gave you a good tip, you know, your man going to wherever, I won't say certain areas, but your man going to this area, like, ask for 10 cent change, you know what I mean? Like that kind of thing. So,
absolutely true.
That's just good people though. I think Ballymun, Finglas and Darndale and any of them kind of working class areas have that kind of, they don't give bollocks, like, just themselves, and just they're not out for people in Finglas or Ballymun. They're just the normal day things, go to shops with their mates and just do normal things, you know. They don't try to be what they're not, you know. Which is good. But yeah, I love these areas. Ballymun is when I moved out to Sanctuary with my ma, it was one of the areas that I got to really like, because the people up here are really good, and Finglas as well. I've been in Finglas and just the good proper areas, you know, and ordinary Joe soaps that you get no matter what
part of
you
there for a cup of tea
Yeah,
here on
I
the local You like Larby?
I can go upstairs on the bus when I'm driving past there.
I really appreciate that. I live in Santry now.
A fella said to me a few weeks ago when we were rehearsing, the drummer fella, he says to me, he says, because I have I love buying runners and things like that, you know, but I always like having different runners. And he says to me, you're talking about bleeding working class all the time, you're coming in with new runners every week. He said, you know.
I'm the same with runners, the lads be like new chat streets.
So I just had to dig holes in them as long as the rehearsal.
So you look at all that rubber mud on them.
I just have to buy new runners now because I was dragged up in the
That's what I'm saying. I never got them when I was a kid. But that's the truth.
I don't smoke, I don't really drink, I've never done drugs, I like bleeding runners, leave me alone.
It's a weird fascination, isn't it?
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, from over the years I probably sniffed the house, but I still like the runners.
Keeping it real.
That's not fine, guys.
That's a whole other podcast. We've covered that.
That's it.
We've dealt with that. No, it's great. I just want to say, keep doing what you're doing. You're going to call it out. Fine Gael, Fine Fun. They don't want you to talk about it. Keep doing it. Keep doing what you're doing. Obviously, the people that are going to you said they're not even your family anymore. It's people that actually are respecting their music. That like what they hear. So keep going.
Thank you.
And the country is on its knees, do you know what I mean? And it's like you have a platform there where you can actually be everybody's voice, you know, showing the shit show that it is and all the rest of it, plus the beautiful side of Ireland, do you know what I mean? But you are calling out the negative shit, and it's important because we don't have a voice, do you know what I mean? And the randomers walking down the road who are going to collect their dole or can't afford their fucking electricity or their gas, and people struggling left, right and centre, and like now even people being refused jobs because of their address. Do you know what I mean? It's shit, like, so fair play to you.
Thanks very much for having me as well. Thank you. really enjoyable, and yeah, I think it's important to not be afraid to speak about certain things, you know,
right.
just open your mouth, you know.
Yeah. So anybody wants to listen to Ciarán talking about, singing about
Yeah, I'll be outside the dot now.
Whelan's.
I'll be on in Whelan's, yeah, the 12th of May, and all Instagram and Facebook and all them kind of things. You know,
Vicar Street
usual
filming
thing.
up.
Vicar
Yeah.
Street, yeah, hopefully 2024. It'd be too early to catch it in December, but I think next year, hopefully. And yeah, it'll happen. It'll definitely happen.
It will happen.
It will.
We are all manifesting.
Yeah.
We'll have all your information on Ciarán Moran
Yes.
on
Yeah.
Instagram and Facebook for
Yeah.
tickets and everything else, and
Yeah,
to check it out on Spotify and
absolutely. And when's our album finished? When are you ready?
I'm ready to go. So we're just the next few
What?
weeks.
Oh, really? Ah!
Yeah.
I'm buzzing. I can't wait.
So, yeah.
This is great. Come here, I want to tell, well, thanks to everybody, thank you for coming in, but I want to thank my boss, Stephen Simpson, for letting us use this space at Cuts&bruises in Ballymun.
Yeah.
Best barber shop in Ballymun. He's a legend. So, yeah.
Brilliant.
Thanks so
Thanks
much.
very much. Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you.
and that's a wrap.
Thanks a lot.
Bye.
Help, go on. See you tomorrow.